Hey guys, it's Bree and welcome to my channel. So as you can tell by the title, this video I'm going to be telling you guys my current Netflix playlist and shows that I have enjoyed or have been currently enjoying. So yeah, and I'm holding baby girl down here, so if y'all hear her, she's here. She was actually asleep and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna put her down and I'm gonna go film while she's asleep. And as soon as I turned the camera on, she started crying. And I go in there and her eyes are wide open. So I'm going to just hold her while I do this video. And yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and get into it. I have 10 shows that I really liked on Netflix. And yeah, let's have a little conversation in the comment section. So if you guys have seen any of the shows that I talk about, tell me in the comment like which ones you watch and why you like them. If I don't say a show that you like, go ahead and leave it in the comments. We can all look. I'm definitely going to look through the comments and see what suggestions you guys have so I can find some more shows. So yeah, I'm going to get into it. So the first show is On My Block. Now this is a pretty new show. I think it came out in 2018 and they just aired their third season in March of this year. So they do have 3 seasons out and I really like this show. Basically, it's these 4 friends and they live in not the best neighborhood. There's 2 major gangs in the neighborhood, the Prophets and the Santos. So it's predominantly a black and Hispanic community, and the Prophets is basically the black gang and the Santos are the Hispanic gang. So it just kind of shows their life as they go through adolescence and their teenage years and just trying to navigate living through, you know, not the best type of neighborhood. So basically we just see their lifelong friendships being tested through just the different challenges that they are facing. Some of it is related to the gang. We see them experience love, we see them experience losses, and the gang activities actually plays a really big role in their lives and in their community. So we just kind of see them navigate through it, and of course the goal is to not fall into the gang affiliation and to make it out of their neighborhood and their lifestyle. So the third season we do see some people, y'all, she's like farting in my hand. So we see some of them make it out and we see some of them stay in the neighborhood but they're not necessarily associated with anything crazy, and then we see some people kind of turn into the gang life. So I really have been enjoying this show. Can't wait for season 4. This is a show that I actually watch with my boyfriend, and me and him can never agree on any type of show. So when we can both sit down and watch a show through and through, it's got to be a decent show. So yeah, Youngin Hungry. This show has been out for years. I started watching it my probably freshman year of college, but they've been having new seasons. So they currently have 5 seasons, and I think season 5 is the last season, but I'm not gonna lie, season 5 ended on a cliffhanger. And if y'all seen the show, you know what I mean when I say I need to know the answer. I need to know his answer, okay? That's the least. I need them to come back with at least one, just like 1 hour long episode so we can get the answer and just like, okay, 5 years in the future, let us know what happened. I need closure, okay? But this show is basically about a woman named Gabby and her best friend Sophia. They're in their early 20s, and Gabby is like a food blogger and she wants to be like a famous chef and stuff like that. So she actually gets the opportunity to work for this like billionaire guy as his personal chef. And initially his publicist doesn't want her to work for them. He wants to hire someone who's already famous and well known, and he's kind of like bougie and she's a little bit more quirky, a little bit, you know, less refined than him, so he doesn't really take to her. But with the help of her best friend Sophia and his other employee, basically the housekeeper, they actually land her the job. And you know, we see that she ends up falling in love with her boss and he falls in love with her, and a lot of the show does kind of show their love life and their challenges that they face and their ups and downs with relationships and love. And we also see an interesting dynamic between his help, because his publicist is really his best friend, and his housekeeper is kind of like a second mother figure. And we just see them all kind of go through their different lives. We do get a glimpse into each of their lives. So it's like a little sitcom, a comedy show, and I really like it. I do think it might be more of like a chick type of show, but I really enjoy it. I think it's funny. So the next show is Black Lightning. I recently found this show. They have 3 seasons, and it's basically about this man, Jefferson, who he has these powers, and he used his powers to basically, he's a vigilante, so he uses his powers to help, you know, save the community, save people, and he, kind of like a hero basically. And he ends up retiring. He, you know, he wants to quit being Black Lightning, but the show starts off with him basically coming back into his Black Lightning because one of his daughters was, you know, trying to be recruited by a gang, and he was like, oh hell no, we ain't finna do that. So he, you know, but we see Black Lightning resurface, and now he's back to trying to save the community and help, you know, help. So we see him resurface after that instance, and he's basically just back to his, you know, trying to help save. Well, at first it starts off with him just trying to save his own daughters, but then people kind of challenge, well, what? And nobody knows that he's Black Lightning except his family. But we see people challenge, well, how come Black Lightning only saved these people and not all these other cases? So we just see him trying to balance his family life and this superhero, you know, save the world type of thing. And we come to find out that his 2 daughters also have powers, and but the 3 of them have like natural given powers, versus there's this drug called green lights, and there's this evil man, Tobias, who is shooting himself up with this drug so he can have powers and make himself really strong, and it also makes him not age. And he's a really evil guy in the show, so he has a vendetta against a lot of people. Also, Jefferson and Tobias are kind of connected because Tobias played a part in the death of Jefferson's father, and Jefferson actually witnessed his father being murdered. So we see Jefferson battle with his own emotions and wanting to get rid of Tobias, but that not necessarily being the right way to go about it. And we just see them balance their, you know, their lives, coming into their powers, and trying to basically save the world, save the community. And this green light drug plays a big role because there are kids that are being, you know, that disappear, and they've been injected with this drug, and they're basically like these experiment kids. And we see Lynn, which is Jefferson's wife, try to help save these kids. So it's pretty interesting. I'm still watching season 3. I'm not finished with season 3. I'm not gonna lie, I feel like I have to restart season 3. I'm thinking I'm on episode 5 or 6. Season 3 definitely got a little bit confusing for me. So I need to go back and rewatch it, but so far I've been enjoying the show. It's actually pretty interesting, so I definitely want to see what happens with these kids that they were shooting up. They're calling the people with superpowers these metahumans, is what they're being called. So I want to see what happens with these kids and the metahumans, and if everybody's gonna kind of band together, or, you know, if it ultimately is the demise of the whole town. But we'll see. So the next show that I have is Good Girls. Y'all, this show is so good. My cousin put me onto this, and when she first told me about it, I was like, I don't think it'll be that good. I'm hooked, okay? So there's 2 seasons currently on Netflix, and the 3rd season is airing Sunday nights on NBC. And you can also buy the individual episodes on YouTube, which is what I've been doing because I don't always get to watch it on TV, so I buy the episodes on YouTube. But they have 3 seasons, and basically it's about these 2 sisters, Beth and Annie, and their best friend Ruby. And the 3 of them are all kind of in a financial crisis for different reasons. We have Annie, who's a single mom, and she's battling with her ex-husband. And you have Beth, who is married with 4 kids. Her husband runs like a used car dealership, but it's just not really going very well. They need more money. And then Ruby is married to a police officer, which is very important to remember throughout the show. And she has 2 kids, and her daughter has all these medical bills and expenses that they can no longer afford. So the 3 of them come up with a plan to rob this local grocery store that one of them actually works at. And it was supposed to be a one-time thing just to kind of help get them on track. And let me just tell you, it does not end there. They end up going on just spiraling down a whole rabbit hole of heists. And pretty much when they robbed that grocery store, come to find out somebody was laundering their money there, and his name is Rios. So now they're basically indebted to Rios, and they end up working for him, and basically one thing leads to another, and we just see them go on many heists and do a lot of just criminal plotting, and we just see how these different heists unfold and how it affects their personal lives, their marriages, and yeah. Season 2 ended with Beth trying to get rid of Rios because he's basically helping keep them in there, and they kind of want to escape. So it ends with them trying to kill him off, but of course it's not really a spoiler because I already knew he wasn't dead. But he's definitely not dead. He is still alive in season 3, and now he's basically trying to get his revenge for her trying to kill him off. And they basically just dug themselves into a hole that they can't seem to get out of. So it's pretty interesting. I still have to finish watching season 3. I mean, it's still airing as I'm filming this, but I've definitely missed a few episodes, but I'm about to buy them on YouTube and catch up. It's a really good show, and yeah, I really like it. So the next show is Umbrella Academy. Listen, I'm waiting for the next season, okay? So basically, it's a little bit weird, but it's interesting. So this one day, these 43 babies, random babies, they're all unconnected, are born, and the women that birth them literally they're not pregnant. They have no signs of being pregnant. They just like randomly give birth to these like superhumans. And so this really rich man, Hargreaves, adopts 7 of these like random children, and he creates something called the Umbrella Academy, where he's basically training them and preparing them to be superheroes. And they kind of have a rough little childhood, and it kind of splits their family, divides their family, and they all go live their own separate lives apart from each other. And we see them reunite because of the passing of their father, and that basically just reunites them. They all come back to the house where they grew up in and get to see each of their personalities and their powers unfold, because they do all kind of have powers. And so yeah, 6 of them are still alive. 1 of them passed away. They do eventually show why he passed away, but 6 of them are still living. The 6 reunite, and they kind of want to solve the mystery behind their father's passing. And we also discover that their mother is not a human, she's a robot. And yeah, there's one sister, Vanya, who is kind of the outcast, and I think they thought she wasn't special, like she didn't have powers. She was made to feel like she wasn't as special as the others, but we find out that she's even more special as far as her powers are concerned, and that's a really big part of, you know, what kind of happens throughout the season, throughout the story. And basically the season ended with them trying to prevent this apocalypse, because one of the siblings can travel time, and he was in the future, and he was trying to warn them that this crazy apocalypse is about to happen in literally just a matter of days. So the season kind of ended with them trying to stop this apocalypse, and at that point they did discover that Vanya had these crazy powers. So we just kind of see how they all grow into their powers and trying to help save, you know, prevent the apocalypse. So it's been pretty interesting. My mom was even hooked on it, so I'm definitely ready to see the next season. The next show is New Girl. New Girl has 7 seasons. It's definitely a good show to really binge. Basically it's about this girl named Jess, and she just got out of this really bad breakup, and she moves in with all these roommates. So she moves in with these 3 single guys, and they all kind of have their own little personality. Jess is really quirky, and she's a school teacher. You have Nick, who is really smart, but he's like an underachiever. And you have Schmidt, who really cares about his appearance and his social status and takes pride in all the weight that he's lost. And then you have Winston, who was a former athlete and, you know, has to come to terms with the fact that he ain't finna go pro and he gotta get his life together. So Jess, her best friend Cece, and the 3 roommates, they all basically just become this big dysfunctional family, and they get really close, and we just get to see them go through their lives, experience losses, their job trials, love, and we just get to see them go through life basically. So I really like the show. A couple of the roommates, like in the friend group, a couple of them end up getting together. I'm not gonna say who in case you haven't seen it. We just get to see everybody go through life, and it's really interesting. This is another show that me and my boyfriend have watched together. So like I said, if me and him can come together and watch a show together, it's got to be a decent show. So we have All American. This is the newest show that I watched. I just finished it like yesterday or 2 days ago. We see this young high school boy who doesn't live in the best neighborhood, Crenshaw. I feel like the bad neighborhood is always called Crenshaw in these movies. But yeah, so he lives in not the best neighborhood, and he gets recruited by this former football player to come play in Beverly, which is, you know, the white neighborhood basically, and it's supposed to be just a better lifestyle, I guess. So he takes this opportunity to go play for them, and we just kind of see him trying to navigate through this new neighborhood, this new way of life, and also trying to balance his old neighborhood. You know, some people in his old neighborhood kind of feel betrayed. You left us, you think you got somewhere better to be. We also see in the Crenshaw neighborhood there's gang activity, and one of his good friend is actually kind of affiliated with this activity, and we see how that unfolds and how that affects her life and his life. The former football player that he ends up playing for has some ties to his mom, and we find out that, you know, his dad left him in his younger years, and he kind of battles with that, and then he finally reunites with his dad, and we find out that his dad is sick. So that kind of happens, and after his dad passes, he kind of battles with, does he still want to play football, because he felt like football bonded him with his dad. And we also see that the coach kind of becomes sort of a father figure in his life. We also find out that the coach, he had an affair with his mom a while back, so we also see how that affects the lives of the coach and his family. And the young boy basically becomes a part of the coach's family. He has 2 children, and we just see how everybody's lives unfolds. And one thing that's important about the show is that I think the people from Crenshaw kind of feel like, oh, Beverly, everybody has it good in Beverly, but we find out that just because they come from a different lifestyle doesn't mean that everything is all good. A lot of the kids in Beverly actually have a lot of issues, and a very important lesson that we find in the show is that they all realize that even though you're white, I'm black, or you're from Beverly and from Crenshaw, we're not that different. And that's an important part of the show. And we also just kind of see the differences. Obviously, living in Crenshaw, you know, you have the issues with the gangs, with the racial profiling, and when the kids from Beverly kind of visit Crenshaw to see his neighborhood, they kind of get a taste of life outside of their, you know, their social bubble or their, you know, privileged bubble, and vice versa. He kind of sees how some of them are more privileged and how they just live a different life. And in season 2, because of some of the gang activity, the young boy actually ends up getting shot, and he has to make decisions that could affect, you know, the future of him being able to have mobility and play football again. So I did finish both seasons. There's only 2 seasons out so far, so I hope they keep playing. I want to see what happens. I really like it. Yeah, my boyfriend's mom watched it. She likes it. My sister watched it and she liked it too. So it's a good little show. So Insatiable only has 2 seasons. I'm kind of mad it got canceled after season 2. So Insatiable is about, ouch, this girl Patty, and she basically was really like fat and overweight, and of course she was, you know, underappreciated because of it. She got bullied and made fun of, and she ends up losing all this weight. So now she's fabulous and she's looking good and feeling good, and she's basically out to get revenge and prove her point. And so she enlists the help of this man Armstrong, who used to be an attorney, but he really has a passion for coaching pageants. So he takes her on, he sees her potential, and they basically go try to win all these pageants so she can just kind of prove herself, I guess, and get her revenge. And this is like a dark kind of comedy, because we find out that her desire for revenge is really deeply rooted, and she kind of gets herself into some very criminal type of things, and it really catches her coach off guard, and then she kind of confides in him. He becomes wrapped up in, you know, her craziness, and it really catches him and his wife off guard. So I find it interesting. I really wish it, you know, had more than 2 seasons, because I really liked it. I wanted to see what else was going to unfold. You know, there's death and there's mystery, and we also see, like I said, she used to be really overweight, so we do see that her unhealthy relationship with food does you know show itself throughout the show, and we do see how she kind of sometimes goes back to those habits. So I really like it. It got canceled probably because, you know, people are sensitive and people probably didn't like the fat shaming aspect and stuff like that, but I liked it. It was an interesting show, and I really wanted to see, you know, how far she was willing to go. But there are 2 seasons if you guys are interested. I really like it. The Good Place, they have 4 seasons, and I'm still watching. I'm still like in season 2. Like, I still have a way to go, but so far I like it, and I like the concept of it. So basically, this woman named Eleanor is dead, and this whole show is basically about the afterlife. So she dies and she goes to this place called the Good Place. So I guess you could see it as heaven and hell, but they call it the good place and the bad place. And so she quickly finds out that she's in the good place by mistake, and she enlists the help of some other people who live there. So a woman named Tahani, a man named Jason, and then her soulmate, which is Chidi. They all have soulmates in this good place, and that's who they like live with and live their lives with. It's literally a soulmate. So she enlists their help to basically try to change her life around and prove that she can be good. And it's like it's just a little series. Ouch. It just kind of shows them trying to help her become good. So yeah, it just kind of shows their their challenges and obstacles as they try to help her, you know, learn how to be just a better person and not be so selfish. And yeah, like I said, I'm like not even halfway through yet, so I don't know all that's gonna happen, but that's basically what the show is about. So the last show is the Santa Clarita Diet. This one has 3 seasons, and it's about this couple, Sheila and Joel. They live in the suburbs and they're realtors, and they kind of live this like normal, quiet suburban life, or so we think. So basically, the wife Sheila, she has this, so she basically undergoes this transformation after she eats these infected clams at a specific restaurant. So it basically turns her into like a zombie, and it basically turns her into a zombie, and she desires to eat human flesh. So she basically goes on all these killing sprees so she can quench her thirst. And it's kind of like, this is another like dark kind of show in the sense that she thrives off of killing and eating humans, versus like if she doesn't get her fix, she like starts dying and looking crazy. But when she kills these people and eats them, literally raw flesh, she is thriving and glowing and living a life. They also are raising a teenage daughter. So the story just kind of shows them trying to balance, you know, this crazy side of her that nobody knows, but trying to live like a normal life. And yeah, her husband ends up getting involved with her. They go out finding prospects to kill and eat. And then we also find out that there are other undead people who got infected either by being bitten by someone who was infected or by eating the clams from the same restaurant. So like I said, they have 3 seasons, and I think it's kind of interesting. Again, it's a dark show. I guess I have a little bit of dark humor, but I really like it. I think it's pretty interesting, and you know, it's just interesting to see how they balance, you know, the two different lifestyles, I guess. But yeah, that's my last show. Like I said, y'all leave your comments down below. Let me know what you guys are watching. You know, you guys can recommend me some new videos to try, and or new shows. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I thought this would be good to do while we're all stuck at the house. So yeah, hope you guys enjoy it. Hope you guys, you know, learned about a new show that you might want to try out. And yeah, I will see y'all in my next video. Peace.